First topic, rotational dating, aka the man funnel. I don't know what this means, so I'm going to have you explain this.
Okay. Have you heard of this?
Nope.
No. Okay, so just to be clear here for our audience, you are a single woman, because everybody that I have on the show is single. You represent the younger dating age, right? So this audience is pretty much between 30 and 60, and I would say the sweet spot's probably 40s, right? Because it's in the middle. Mm-hmm. But you're on the.
I'm 32.
There you go.
In case you were
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah. So you're 32.
I just turned 32 years old.
So for people, well, in this specific case, because this was a topic that was brought up through direct messaging this past week, somebody brought up the idea of the man funnel, or what's it called again? Rotational dating. Okay, so that was brought up from a woman, and the same thing applies for men. You know, rotational dating, like if you're in a certain community, right? Like we're in a big community here, but that kind of, you know, there are circles, right? So we're in a small community here, and, you know, people know people, and it kind of goes through this rotation. And this actually became something that I became very familiar with through another online group that I am a member of called DO40, which stands for Divorced Over 40. It's out of Oklahoma. It has over 1,000 followers, and they do monthly groups. They have a big spring fling coming up with like several hundred people, like this hotel takeover. And it's like, imagine a hotel full of a bunch of single people that are 40 plus.
Right.
Like I wish I could go. I can't make it, but next time I'm going to try to make it. It sounds like a lot of fun. But the topic was brought up that, you know, this guy dates this girl, and then, you know, whatever, and then he dates this girl, and this girl dates that guy, right? It's like this, I would call it more like recycling. Okay, so I think I've explained it enough. People get the idea. So what do you think? Like, the same is true on dating apps, right? If you're on a dating app, you know, Match, Tinder, or whatever, Bumble, and you're in an area like we're in, St. Louis or Wentzville or St. Charles, or right, some of the suburbs, you're going to see the same people pop up.
Yeah. Does that mean you're going to go on a date with them multiple times, or like you're talking with your buddies about how you're dating the same girl, or you're talking with your girls about how you're dating the same guy? Like what? Yeah,
that's the dilemma.
And is it like, I'm your friend, we're friends, and we're dating the same girl, or like what is the? I would have to understand that more.
Well, that is the dilemma.
Okay.
So think of it like a spider web.
Yeah.
Right. So the spider web is, you know, you can say it's based upon a zip code or a certain geographic area, whether it's all of Los Angeles, you know, all of Stuttgart, Germany, whatever. Or maybe it's like where we are in the Midwest, and it's a little bitty community of, you know, 20,000 people, or maybe 100,000 people. Well, sooner or later, you know, as you're traveling this web, you know, you're going to see the boundaries.
Right.
And unless you are willing to go outside those boundaries, which basically means to date in other cities, you know.
Yeah.
It's the funnel. And let's be real, for someone like you, right, which is to say somebody like me, or this single woman, or this single man, right, if there's 100 people Oh boy, here we go. You know, I love numbers. And let's say there's 100 people. Call it 1,000 people, or call it 10,000 people. Based upon your criteria, there's only going to be a certain percentage that are even going to fall into your funnel.
Yeah.
I think if you're being generous, you're going to say 20%. And if you're someone, well, if you're somebody who's twice divorced, over 40, blah, 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 that funnel is like 5%.
Okay. I think I understand. So your 5% pool. Okay.
So out of 100 people, you have 5 opportunities.
Right. And everybody in your demographic also has 5 opportunities. Likely the same.
My demographic.
I'm sorry. Like the demographic you were describing. I'm sorry. I'm just like, hey. No, the demographic you just described, twice divorced, in your 40s, over 40.
That's a demographic.
All that stuff.
That's one of them.
That particular demographic also has a 5% chance. Is that with like likely the same 5 people? Okay. I think I'm not in the right pool to answer that question, because what happens to me is I get too many options. I have too many, not enough, if that makes sense. So I don't recycle. I fend off.
True that.
That's my answer. That's what I got.
Well, that's what I mean. If your pool, okay, let's use some realistic numbers. It's not 10,000, but it's not 100. Let's say it's 1,000.
Okay.
Whether you're 32, 42, 52, 62, whatever. Let's say you got 1,000 in your socioeconomic and geographic area. So out of 1,000, would you say you have 5%?
Oh yeah.
That you would be like, yeah, this is in my funnel.
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too. I would say 5%.
There's a whole another 95% not in my funnel.
So how are you feeling when you just got out of a relationship with Jimmy, and now Jimmy's dating a girl you know from work, and then a girl you know from work?
Oh, this is going to go into our next topic.
Her friend was dating Jimmy's friend.
Yep.
And then
this is the point.
Okay, so okay.
Let me tell you something.
That's a tough one.
Like, I hate to say this, but and never say never. I am currently not dating anymore anybody from my area, and by my area I mean all of St. Louis, which is 3.5 million people.
Jeez.
I'm not doing it. I'm done. No more.
Yeah. Well, that's the case of too many options.
Yes.
You're a catch.
Well, not for that reason. That's very generous of you. Thank you. It's just that the web is too small.
Yeah.
It's just too small.
I don't know. It's a hard topic because I haven't had enough experience in dating to experience excuse me. The most recent experience I've had with that, and probably the most valid one, was I cut ties with dating a certain person, and then I was relatively immediately asked by a mutual friend to go out on a date. And I was uncomfortable with that situation.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah. And it was because it was fresh and because I still, I just wasn't ready to go down that road. But it was surprising to me how, oh, she's free now. I'm going to go in and I'm going to get her. I'm going to ask her on a date. It's my turn. And it's just like they're waiting, know, I'm just waiting for the green light. I'm waiting for the right time.
Everybody's in line waiting for their turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry it took me a minute to wrap my brain around that one, but that was a little complicated. But yeah, that totally makes sense now that I can identify an experience I've had with that. For sure. For me, it made me uncomfortable. But if more time had passed, then sure. And I think that men and women need to have more tact in that sense.
How much time? Right, so you're in a social circle. Not to put you on the spot, but you're in a social circle. Like, this is very relative. This actually has come up with more than one person who has messaged me. You're right, so you're dating someone, maybe it's serious, maybe it's not. Maybe you're just dating. But you're kind of dating exclusively, whether you've talked about it or not. And you know that just because you have truly filled each other's time with each other, like, all the time. So, right, there's an ending, and now how much time? Right, it's not a week. I don't know. It's not a year. Mm-hmm. What is it? Hold on, I'm gonna think of a number. Okay, I got it.
I wouldn't personally put a number on it. I work off of my intuition and my empathy. My empathy.
Well, then I'm not going to put a number on it either, because I don't want to be held accountable to it.
I think that if, as a woman, if I'm eyeing a man and I know that he's dating somebody else, and if I like him enough and I'm paying attention, I'm going to know when I'm going to have an idea of when he's available. And then I'm going to dip my feet in the water and I'm going to really feel out the situation. And on my own intuitive level, I'm going to know when the right time is to ask. And if it is a no the first time, it doesn't mean don't ask again. It just means like, okay, maybe this was a little too soon for comfort. And then you can kind of gauge, but you can't really gauge until you try. So maybe for someone it's 2 weeks. Maybe somebody needs a month to get over the last one. Maybe for somebody, they can bounce back the very next day. They're just like, oh, well, we're not dating anymore. On to the next one.
Thank you, next.
Everybody has their cup of tea. My cup of tea is probably about give me like a quarter of what the relationship was. So if we were dating for like 6 months,
that's so smart.
Maybe give me a month and a half, 2 months to get over that.
I am with you.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so I will say, I was kind of thinking 6 months would equal 2 months, right? For the circle to be like, give her a minute.
Yeah.
And you actually gave it a model, right? A quarter, right? Quarter, third, whatever. So
yeah,
I'm right there with you.
A third.
Interesting.
Yep. But don't just jump right on me.
Pounce.
If you jump right on me, it's an immediate no.
If you lick it, it's yours.
You're going to have to wait a couple more weeks, a couple more months to ask me again. So just...